Tonight, what debate on the new Churchill Falls agreement will look like. That story.
Violent incidents like this are incredibly rare, which is why we need an in-depth investigation anytime something like this happens.
The Canadian Mental Health Association is calling for support in the mental health care system after one patient at the Waterford Hospital is charged with murder for killing another.
I think everybody's feeling it in some way, some more than others.
Santa isn't the only one tightening his belt. We have more on the stress and strain of the season.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to a special shorter Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis. Our top story. The Waterford Hospital stabbing victim died over the weekend, and another patient is now facing charges for murder. The tragic incident is raising red flags about security and patient safety. Here and Now's Arlette Lazarenko has the story.
When Thomas Parsley walked in court today, there were sobs from the crowd. He too shed tears. The 30-year-old man is charged with second-degree murder for the vicious stabbing of another patient at the Waterford Hospital.
Violent incidents like this are incredibly rare, which is why we need an in-depth investigation anytime something like this happens. And we need to take the lessons that we can learn from this and implement them immediately.
Before the deadly attack, Parsley was already charged with stabbing someone at the hospital back in October. Not his first violent episode while at the Waterford. Court documents from the summer reveal he was declared, quote, certified and would be living in the hospital for the foreseeable future. Then this happened.
Yes, it was absolutely shocking, but there are some ways in which these kind of incidents can be predicted, especially when we know that our healthcare system doesn't have the support that it needs in order to be able to operate.
The Canadian Mental Health Association says Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest rate of poor mental health in Canada. The problem is that the system is not prepared.
The problem is that the healthcare system doesn't have the support it needs. The problem is policies are sometimes not adequate and policies are sometimes not followed. The problem is that we have an HR crisis when it comes to mental health. And the problem is that we're not supporting the community at those early stages so we can avoid these kind of, absolutely tragic incidents.
The murder charges raise questions about hospital policy around patient safety. The health authority says it is investigating. As for Parsley, he is due back in court on December 30th. Arlette Lazarenko, CBC News, St. John's.
Police say two people were hit by vehicles Friday evening in separate crashes. Just before 5:30, police say a man in his 70s was struck on Water Street West. He was taken to hospital. Then about 15 minutes later, another pedestrian was hit, this time near Rope Walk Lane in St. John's. That man was seriously injured and taken to hospital as well. Police are asking anyone with video, like CCTV or dash cam, to share it with them. And a police checkpoint was set up along Route 10 today as a reminder to keep drinking and driving separate. Each year, the Red Ribbon campaign raises awareness for victims of impaired driving and their families. CBC News spoke with Mothers Against Drunk Driving at the checkpoint today.
So being involved in these road stops are very, very important for my family and for many victims and survivors of impaired driving. If we're out there, we get a chance to share a little story about our son, Nicholas Coates, who was killed by an impaired driver. To this day, it's 11 years for us since we've lost Nicholas. And we never have a holiday the same.
So today, the RCMP and the RNC are with MAD Newfoundland to talk about impaired driving over the holiday season. So 2024 for the RCMP throughout Newfoundland and Labrador, we were nearly 320 people or individuals arrested for impaired driving offences. That's, nearly one a day. It's certainly too high. It happens throughout the province. It's not isolated to the city of St. John's. It's not isolated to small or remote areas. It's everywhere, and it's at all times of day. We do have a number of people that have been arrested for impaired driving violations that we believe was from consumption from the night before. So just because you went home, you had a couple hours of sleep, you had a coffee and a shower, and you feel like you can drive, it certainly doesn't mean that you should or that you are able legally to drive. Certainly, it's a party season for a lot of people, and we understand that they'll be, enjoying festivities and probably consuming alcohol and or drugs. All we're asking is to separate the two.
Plan ahead, get a cab, have a designated driver, or stay home or stay where you are. If you're at a house party, let your friends stay on your floor. Give them a blanket and a pillow. It's a lot better that you get up to them in the morning than them to get up with the realization they've taken somebody's life or destroyed their life. So we're out here and we're asking and pleading with you to please don't be another reason for us to have, or another family member to have, an empty chair Christmas Day.
To politics now. Get ready to hear a lot more about the Churchill Falls deal when the new year starts. The House of Assembly will reopen on Monday, January 6th for 4 days of debate. Today, Government House Leader John Hogan released a letter outlining the rules. In an unusual move, politicians won't be the only ones on the legislature floor. People involved in the negotiations with Hydro-Quebec and other technical and financial advisors will be answering questions. Debate during the 4 days will start in the morning and end at 9 at night. Hogan says the aim is to vote on the Churchill deal by the end of the 4th day. Well, if you're struggling with finances this season, you're not alone. According to a report from Statistics Canada, nearly half of people living in this country say rising prices are making it more difficult to cover day-to-day expenses. As Here and Now's Leila Baudouin reports, tighter budgets are trickling into the holidays.
'Tis the season to spend, but with rising prices and less money to go around this year, it's not always easy.
It's the worst I've seen it. I know, like just hearing from my students and clients. So I think everybody's feeling it in some way, some more than others.
Jennifer Broadbent, a mental health counselor, says financial strain is changing how people do Christmas this year.
Cost of groceries, the housing market, it's just ridiculous.
That struggle to make ends meet is carrying over into charities.
Even for myself, I've had to kind of lower the amount that I would have donated in the past.
That is a lot more than last year.
The local Salvation Army is seeing a spike in the number of people asking for help this season and fewer people giving.
And we've had served turkey dinner to over 130 people.
But it's not just hunger. Community Ministries worker Zach Wheeler says families are coming through these doors who have to make a choice between paying rent, eating dinner, or buying gifts for their children.
Sometimes they do find it hard to ask for things. And that's what we're here for. So sometimes if they're emotional, we can kind of tell that that's what they're here for, is that they need help.
Help like hampers with food for Christmas dinner. Help like vouchers for Christmas toys.
It's harder. It's starting to slowly increase in how expensive it can be.
Wheeler says the need is up significantly from last year. 675 people have signed up for hampers, 351 for toy vouchers, and that's just this Salvation Army.
It's increased. So people give what they can, and everything that they do give is greatly appreciated from us to give back into the community.
Doing something for other people and giving of yourself, it's also good for your own mental health.
But Broadbent adds, giving comes in different forms.
You can't afford to make that donation. Maybe you could give of your time. There's different ways that you can give back.
Back at the Salvation Army, that call out for holiday vouchers was supposed to end last week. But because so many people are realizing they just can't do it, they're keeping their doors open to the last minute. Leila Baudouin, CBC News, Corner Brook.
And of course, the financial strain of the season isn't limited to the West Coast. It's seen everywhere. It's the busiest time of year for food banks right across the country. We head to central Newfoundland now for a look at what it takes to prepare more than 170 holiday hampers.
We provide food hampers to people from the Gander area. Our first step is we look at food items that are required, so then make a plan as to how many hampers we're going to plan for the upcoming season. Select our registration date, open up our application process. Then we, of course, once we have a look, probably about 2 weeks prior to hamper distribution, we order our food from the local co-op and secure our food. This is done strictly by volunteers, and without them, this wouldn't be possible for us. We have a volunteer that does our calling, just like calling bingo. One food item at a time gets added to the hampers. There's 2 boxes that comprise the hampers, the food, the dry goods side, plus the vegetables. We provide dry goods in addition to turkey, all the vegetables that go in the hamper. We need about 40 to 50 volunteers to complete that. So we put out a call to our volunteer group, and people respond, and we never have an issue. We have volunteers that take trolleys, and we have the food that is packed up, put by the trolley, and it's transported to each row, and it's a team effort. Everyone works very well together. A lot of volunteers come back year after year, and people enjoy doing it, and for the benefit of those people that are in need in our community. And the need is ever greater each and every year, and we see that across, not only in Newfoundland, you see that reported across the entire country. We see smiles on their faces. You know, that a lot of people are struggling. Christmas is about family time. Receiving a turkey and all the vegetables and knowing that they can put a meal on the table for their family, and even sometimes just for themselves. It's just a single person. That's one less thing that they have to worry about at Christmas time. And for some people, the food bank is the last place they want to come for support. But we're there to support them, and that's our purpose, and we want to help them through this difficult time. You know, we see people who come to us in tears, and we're here to help them. And if we can make it feel a little bit better for them at Christmas time, we've done a good job.
Well, it's true the holidays can be a difficult time, but we're heading into commercial now on a high note. Christmas is a big deal in the Philippines, and the Newfoundland and Labrador Filipino Christmas Chorale has been busy spreading seasonal cheer, even swinging by the St. John's Morning Show.
Oh, come, ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing choirs of faith.
Catherine Salvador is with me. You are the group's coordinator. How did this choir get started?
Well, this is our first year here in Newfoundland and Labrador to perform, but back in Abu Dhabi, majority of the chorales here are working in the luxury hotel, and we usually do it back in Abu Dhabi every Christmas season, and why not bring here in Newfoundland?
People in this province are very into Christmas too, so how does that cultural fit work out for you?
Perfect.
Very well. Very well.
Kumukuti-kutita, bumubusi-busila, ganyan ang indak ng mga bumbilya. Kikindat-kindat, kukurap-kurap, pinaglalaroan ang iyong mga mata.
Kumukuti-kutita, bumubusi-busila, ganyan ang indak ng mga bumbilya. Kikindat-kindat, kukurap-kurap, pinaglalaroan inyong mga mata.
Iba't ibang palamuti, ating isabit sa puno. Buhusan ng mga kulay, tambakan ng mga regalo. Sundo sa sabay.
Welcome back to Here and Now. We have a sad update for you now. Ralph Lethbridge, known to most as Boonie, has passed away. He died this morning at age 80. Some of you may remember his story from last year. He chopped down Christmas trees for 40 years in Clarenville, and our Terry Roberts went into the woods with him, and we're re-airing this feature report tonight in Boonie's memory.
This is where Boonie feels most at home, hunting for the perfect Christmas tree.
Look, another nice one there, boy.
But it's been a few years since Ralph Lethbridge has done this. That's because cancer is ravaging his 79-year-old body, sapping his strength.
Red there, boy.
But Boonie is a showman, so when he's asked to knock down a tree for old time's sake, he's up for the challenge. First, his trusty bucksaw.
I had to take a break.
But the wood is wet and sticky. It's a struggle.
You'll come down in a minute.
So he finishes the job with an axe.
I got me, son.
After years of chemotherapy and pills, Boonie is back.
How does it feel to have done that now today?
couldn't ask for better. Made me happy. Made me happy.
For 4 decades, Boonie's trees were in high demand. And if you couldn't afford it, no problem.
Give them trees, poor. Give them a turkey. I always hand out candies for the little ones. Always. Just help people out.
The Christmas tree side hustle, his reputation for giving, and his free-spirited personality made Boonie a household name.
Stop breathing, I gotta have a smoke.
He could even be mistaken for Santa if Santa smoked 4 packs a day.
He was in the blood, boy. I can spend all day here now like this.
He's the oldest of 16 children. He's worked as a sailor, fisherman, logger. He hunts and traps. The sign on the dining room wall is fitting. Sarcasm and wit are his calling cards.
Soup time!
Meet Lady Lethbridge.
And my dumplings. Now we're going to have a little feast.
Virginia is the wind beneath Boonie's wings. Proud of their 2 children and grandchildren, Mr. and Mrs. Kindness. Their front door constantly opening to welcome family and friends.
Another crowd to feed. Come on in, boys.
We're alike when it comes to liking people and doing good for everybody. That's why I think we're still together.
Virginia's soup, it's legendary, and so is her patience. After all, she's been married to Boonie for 57 years.
If you see me when I get mad, you wouldn't say I was in any saint. You say Spitfire.
This is Boonie Lethbridge, a Clarenville celebrity.
I'm gonna look beautiful with 2 blue eyes and 2 front teeth. Happiest man in the world.
7 years ago, Boonie sacrificed his signature beard to help raise money for ALS, nearly $60,000. He also has a Medal of Bravery for saving a man from drowning. Some say Virginia also deserves a medal.
He's been sick a lot, but I'm there for him. I've always been there for him, right? Sometimes I say, if you don't treat me better, I'm going to leave you. But I never would. I never would do that.
Boonie doesn't ask for much. A whiskey, cigarette, time with family.
He was always there for us, and I'll always be there for him, much as I can. I love the guy. Thank you. I love him.
And after today, Boonie is inspired, more determined than ever to keep fighting the cancer so he can get back into the tree business.
I'm going to have the last go out with a bang with the Christmas tree open. I'm going to try it one more year next year if I'm alive. I got to.
With Boonie, everything is a bang. Life is large.
Off into the sunset.
And he plans to stretch out life's journey as long as he can. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Clarenville.
What a beautiful sight now, the lights at Bowering Park. Stay with us. I'll have your weather forecast for Christmas Eve next.
See your dealer for details.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Time to take a look at your weather and your weather headlines now. And you know what? There aren't, really big things to talk about in the headlines tonight. It's going to be a cloudy, quiet night right across the province. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, cloudy. Could see some flurries there as well. And it's going to be cold with North Pole temperatures accompanying St. Nick on his ride tomorrow night. So not a whole lot to talk about when we're looking at the future tracker. Some cloud moving across Labrador and across the Northern Peninsula and the West Coast here as we head towards midnight, and just cloud is the story for the next 24 hours as we head into Christmas Eve as well. More cloud tomorrow afternoon and some flurries possible there as well. Things clearing out though in the overnight as we head towards midnight and the arrival of Santa Claus. Tonight, taking a look at our temperatures into the minus double digits through central Newfoundland here at minus 12, minus 9 for St. John's, and a little bit warmer than that along the south coast of the island. Up through Labrador, though, it's going to be quite chilly in Lab West tonight. Minus 30, minus 22 for Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Risk of frostbite in both of these areas. And into the minus teens on the coast. Clear skies in Lab West accompanying all of that cold air. Wind gusts to 50 for Nain. Not a whole lot to talk about with the wind there as well. But when we take a look at our temperatures, when you include the wind chill, it's going to get into the minus 36 area for Lab West in the overnight, minus 32 for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and into the minus teens for the most part for much of the island. Taking a look now at our temperatures for tomorrow, that's Christmas Eve. You see Santa there getting ready to come with us for a good visit tomorrow night. Minus 7 for much of the east and the northeast of the island, into minus 4 for the west coast. For Labrador now, chilly temperatures will persist tomorrow. Warmer relatively for Lab West. And let's take a look at our Boxing Day. Things looking not too bad there for Boxing Day, just more cloud. Quiet weather is continuing. And look at this, Christmas Day, excuse me, not Boxing Day, we're not there yet, but some nice temperatures in store for your Christmas Day. Lots of sun and cloud as well. Taking a look now at our 5-day, we've got some decent weather with us for the east. Thursday, Friday, looking like we could get some precipitation. However, beautiful forecast for western and central Newfoundland over the next 5 days, and in Labrador as well. Things just looking beautiful. We'll leave you with this beautiful photo. It's so festive. It's called Holidays in the Harbour, and this photo is from Gord Windsor. If you have any photos to send to us, you can do so at nlphotos.cbc.ca. And that is our show for this evening. Good night.